more than 3 thoughts listed on your paper, that means that you put some effort into this. Would you give yourself a point on your point card? If you have less than 3 thoughts, then you didn't put enough effort into this. If you have more than 6 thoughts on your paper, that means that you put extra effort into this. Would you give yourself another point? I'm going to call on 5 people to start with to share one of the things they think they know about space. It might be true, it might not be true. And as we learn about space, maybe we'll determine whether that's a true fact or not. I'm going to call on 5 people to determine or to share their thought about what they think they know about space. So pick one, have it ready in your mind. Which one would you want to share with the whole world? All right, here we go. Anna, what do you think you know about space?
Going places and satellites or satellites up in space.
Okay, so remember as you're speaking, you've got to speak loud enough so everybody can hear.
Some places and satellites up in space.
Okay, I think that's probably a true fact. What do you mean by some places?
Like space. Like NASA. Orbiting around planets.
Okay, so like some space stations or
Yes.
space, what would you call those? Yeah, like a center, a space center, maybe?
Yes.
Okay, all right. Thomas, what fact do you want to share?
This is where I think the universe is infinite.
You think the universe is infinite.
It is.
All right, I wonder if we'll learn much about that. Lexi, what's your thought?
You cannot breathe without an oxygen mask on anywhere in space.
You can't breathe without an oxygen mask anywhere in space.
Plus, without an entire suit, would be that.
So where did you think you learned that from? How do you know that? I think you're right, but how do you think you know that? Okay, you are talking right now, you're having a side conversation, you're having a side conversation, and I've called on Lexi and we're listening to her.
Because even if you like go on like Mars, you can never breathe on there.
How do you know that? What makes you think you know that?
Because only like aliens can breathe.
All right, okay. Leah, what would you like to share?
Pluto's a dwarf planet.
Pluto is a dwarf planet. We're going to learn some about Pluto.
I said that.
Oh, again, side conversations happening. We're going to learn about Pluto. Pluto is one of those planets scientists can't agree on right now. Still having debate about it. But I think it is called a dwarf planet. Rachel.
The first person to walk on the moon is Neil Armstrong.
I'm calling sticks. Jacob? Not here. Cody.
The sun moves every day.
The sun moves every day.
No,
That's
no,
what
our world
we're
moves.
Wait. So Cody thinks the sun moves every day. You know what, Cody? I'm so glad you think that. You know why? Because that means I have something to teach you. Because we're going to learn about what the sun really does. And some of you might already know, and some of you will learn this. So I'm glad you think that, but you're learning a little bit differently. Maddie, last one.
Nothing lives on in. Nothing lives in.
Nothing lives in space.
We don't think that we know about.
Oh. Okay, so you think nothing lives in space, maybe other than on Earth, right? But you mean other places on other planets, on the moon, nothing lives in space. Here's what I'd like you to do. We've got so much to learn. In fact, you guys, we're going to be reading about, we're going to be researching, we're going to be doing a PowerPoint on, we're going to be creating our own space alien, we're going to learn about each of the planets, we're going to be doing some investigations for about the next 5 or 6 weeks on this. So by the time you're done, your brain will be popping with space knowledge. What I'd like you to do now is pick one other thing, and amongst your table groups, I'll give you guys a couple minutes, make sure you're taking turns. I want you to share and discuss amongst your table groups. Each of you have one other thing that you think you know about space. So do that now, please.
Mercury and Bryce meet since we
So Lexi, hold on. Stop across with your partner. But today I'd like you to share within your table, which means that one person needs to be talking while everybody else is listening, and then you go to the next person and so on. So I saw a lot of people sharing across with their partner, but then the person towards the end couldn't hear very well. So how about if we share at the table, decide who's going first very quickly, and do it that way, please.
There are more than a million. Well, when I mean that million, since there's each star, and since space goes on forever. There's like more than a million suns in space. So that's his
All right. Who needs a little bit more time?
Us.
Okay.
Because 3 people need to
Okay.
Because I didn't want to sing and have them die. So they used to sing.
You guys finish sharing your ideas?
What's with the helmet on you?
Thank you, everybody, for getting your Chromebooks safely back to your desks. You know, I am not sure why it deletes the users, and I'm wondering if when these go to another class, if people are actually deleting them. I don't have an explanation for that. So you'll just have to get yourself set back up, David. Yes?
Is this 7?
Yes, 21. Okay, you should get logged in, please. Wow, that got quite really quick. And then I'd like you to go to Kahoot.it. You guys remember Kahoot? So, again, yes. Again, we're just trying to get our brains going in the direction of space. We're going to do a Kahoot activity. And you're not expected to know the answers. You might know the answers, but you're not expected to. We're just kind of getting our brains going in the right direction.
What do you mean by